Have you ever quietly noticed that something has changed? Not suddenly, not dramatically, and just slower, different, longer. And you didn't say anything to your wife, didn't mention it to your doctor, because honestly, how would you even start that conversation? So you kept it to yourself, filed it under getting older, and moved on. Here's what most men over 60 have never been told. There is a specific biological reason this is happening. It has a name, it has been studied, and whatever you're experiencing right now, it may be completely medically, scientifically normal. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because what you're about to hear is something you should have been told years ago, and no one did. Before we get into the science, I want to start with a number. Research from one of the longest-running men's health studies in the U.S. found that somewhere between 28 and 40% of men between 60 and 75 report significant changes in blood flow, response, and recovery timing. That's not a rare problem. That is a generation of men quietly wondering the same thing you are, and finding no answers. No video explained the why. No doctor brought it up. No one said the words out loud. Today, that changes. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your body, and I'll keep this simple, because it is simple once you see it. When you were in your 30s and 40s, your body ran a kind of chemical messaging system. A signal was sent, your blood vessels received it in seconds, and everything downstream happened fast. That signal has a name. It's called nitric oxide, and its only job is to tell your blood vessels to open up and let more blood through. Stay with me here, because what comes next is the part that finally made me say, oh, so that's what's been happening. Here's what the research shows. There's an enzyme in your blood vessel walls. Think of it as a tiny factory called eNOS. Its job is to manufacture that nitric oxide signal. When you're young, the factory runs at full capacity. Fast production, strong signal. After 60, that factory slows down. It doesn't close. It just produces less. And less nitric oxide means the signal takes longer to arrive. Think of it like this. You still have the same phone, the same destination. The signal used to be 5G, instant, strong. Now it's running on 3G. The phone isn't broken. The network has changed. And here's the part that genuinely surprised me when I read the research. A 2022 study examining blood vessel tissue across 4 different age groups found that the vessels controlling blood flow down there begin showing measurable aging a full decade earlier than the vessels around your heart. A decade earlier. A man can pass a cardiac stress test, clean results, and still experience significant changes in that area because those smaller vessels are the most sensitive in your body. They're not a sign of failure, that they're the first messengers. Now, I want to talk about something very specific, something that millions of men have quietly wondered about, and almost none have ever looked up. Morning response. What used to happen reliably at sunrise, and maybe doesn't anymore. Here is the science. And once you hear this, I think it's going to click immediately. Your body runs a hormonal cycle every single night. During your deepest sleep, roughly between 3 and 5 in the morning, your body releases a surge of testosterone. This isn't random. It's your biological clock running exactly as designed. And that surge is what powers morning response. Every time, research comparing men in their 20s to men in their late 60s, published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, found something important. In older men, that early morning surge was significantly weaker, not absent, weaker. Less fuel at 4 a.m., less power at sunrise. Here's why this matters. Morning response is not aging. Morning response is a biological clock that runs on a sleep charge. When the charge weakens because of age, because of poor sleep, because of stress, the clock doesn't stop. It just tells time differently. Your morning response is a biological clock. When it changes, the clock isn't broken. The hours are just different. And that reframe alone changes how you should be thinking about this. Here's the section that no one in this space is making. Not one video among the hundreds on this topic has put these specific numbers on screen. So I want you to hear them clearly. And I want you to hear them as facts, not as judgment. What is a medically normal recovery window after 60? Not what you remember from your 30s. what the medical literature actually documents as within the healthy range of aging. Between the ages of 60 and 64, so recovery window of several hours is completely normal. Not a warning sign, normal. Between 65 and 69, 12 to 24 hours, normal, documented in the clinical literature, not dysfunction. Between 70 and 75, 24 to 48 hours. Still within what researchers classify as normal aging in otherwise healthy men. The NIH's National Institute on Aging is explicit. Changes in recovery timing are a normal part of aging. Not a disease, not a failure, not something to carry silently. This number is not a grade. It is not a judgment. It is a biological description of a body doing exactly what bodies do. Now, does this mean there's nothing you can do to support better vascular health? No, we're going to get there in just a moment. But I wanted you to have that baseline first, because too many men are measuring themselves against a 35-year-old standard. And that's not science, that's just unfair. Before I show you what you can actually do, there's one more thing I want to tell you. And I want to say up front, this part is not here to scare you. It's here because I think knowing it is one of the most empowering things a man your age can carry into a doctor's appointment. In 2024, the Princeton Consensus Guidelines, one of the most respected cardiovascular frameworks in modern medicine, updated their position. For the first time, they formally recognized that changes in blood flow and response can be a signal worth discussing with your physician in the context of overall heart health. What that means simply, the blood vessels that serve that area of your body are, in a real sense, a window into your vascular system as a whole. If changes are gradual and age-related, which is what we've been talking about, that's biology. If changes are sudden, significant, and new, that's your body asking for a specific conversation with your doctor. Not about embarrassing personal issues, about your heart, your arteries, your long-term health. The smartest question a man over 60 can walk into his doctor's office with is this: I've noticed some changes in circulation and recovery. Is there anything in my cardiovascular profile worth looking at? That question, asked out loud, could be one of the most important things you do this year. You understand the biology now. You know what's normal. You know when to pay attention. Let's talk about what the science says you can actually do, without prescriptions, without miracle claims. First, move aerobically, consistently. Zone 2 cardio, a pace where you can still hold a conversation, has been shown repeatedly to support nitric oxide production and improve how your blood vessel walls function. 30 minutes most days, not intense, just consistent. Second, protect your sleep like it's medicine, because for men over 60, it is. Remember that testosterone surge that happens between 3 and 5 a.m.? Poor sleep, fragmented sleep, less deep sleep directly weakens it. Every night of poor sleep is a night that biological clock loses some of its charge. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep is not a luxury. For your blood flow, your hormones, your recovery, it is the single most important thing on this list. Third, dark chocolate. And this one surprised even me. Research published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that the flavonoids in dark chocolate, specifically cacao at 70% or higher, activate that eNOS enzyme we talked about earlier, the one that manufactures nitric oxide. Here's why this matters. Pomegranate, which I covered in a previous video, protects nitric oxide from being broken down. Dark chocolate produces more of it, through a completely different biological mechanism. Pomegranate guards the gate. Dark chocolate builds a wider road. A small amount of high-quality dark chocolate is at least 70% cacao, backed by peer-reviewed research. That's not a supplement. That's a food. I want to leave you with this. Your body is not failing you. It is changing on its own timeline, according to its own biology. And now you understand why that's happening. Not from fear, not from shame, from science. That understanding is worth something. In the next video, I'm going to go deeper on dark chocolate. Specifically how much, what kind, and when to eat it to actually move the needle on nitric oxide. Because the research here is more specific than most people realize. If you want to see that, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And if this video said something you needed to hear, share it. There are a lot of men carrying this quietly, and they don't have to. I'll see you in the next one. This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health routine. Changes in blood flow and recovery time can sometimes indicate underlying cardiovascular conditions. If you are experiencing sudden or significant changes, please speak with your physician. All research cited in this video is from peer-reviewed sources. SeniHealth does not endorse any specific treatment, supplement, or medication. Individual results vary.